I finally caught her. After months of suspicion, of feeling like I was losing my mind, I saw the undeniable proof on her laptop screen. My fiancée, the woman I was supposed to marry in 6 weeks, was faking her entire life as a member of the K-pop group KATSEYE. Not just faking it, but running an elaborate, multi-platform scam to extort money from thousands of obsessed fans. She was a fraud, a complete and total stranger wearing the face of the woman I loved. I had just walked in on her live stream, saw the chat log of a fan sending her over $$500 in a single donation, all because she promised to give them a personal call from the real KATSEYE member. My heart didn't just break. It shattered into a million sharp, cold pieces. She looked up at me, the terror in her eyes quickly turning to desperate calculation. Was I wrong for deciding, right then and there, that she deserved to lose absolutely everything, even if it meant destroying my own life in the process? Tell me, if the love of your life was secretly a massive criminal running a long con, would you have protected her? Or would you have become the person who finally brought her down? It all started so innocently, or so I thought at the time. I met Maya 3 years ago at a coffee shop near my office. She was vibrant, funny, and incredibly ambitious. She told me she was a freelance graphic designer who did work for a major entertainment company. But the work was super secretive due to NDAs. It was a little vague, but I chalked it up to the eccentric world of show business. Within 6 months, we were living together. Within 2 years, I had proposed, and she had gleefully accepted. Our life was comfortable. I had a steady, well-paying job in logistics, and she always seemed to have big projects going on that brought in enough money for her to be spontaneous with gifts, trips, and decorating our upscale apartment. The first hint of trouble was the sheer secrecy she maintained about her work. She had 2 specific rooms in the apartment that were off-limits: her studio and her home office. The studio was locked 24/7, and her office computer always required a password, which was strange for a freelance designer. When I'd ask about it, she'd get defensive saying, "Babe, I told you, strict NDAs. I can't even tell you the company name without risking a lawsuit that would bankrupt us." I respected her boundaries, but the feeling of something being off never truly left me. The first major red flag was the money. Our shared account was funded mostly by me, but occasionally huge lump sums, sometimes $$10,000, sometimes $$25,000, would appear, then vanish just as quickly into an external account she controlled. When I questioned her, she'd smoothly explain it away as a big contract payout that she immediately had to transfer to her business partner for tax purposes. The names of these partners changed constantly, and the explanations felt increasingly convoluted. Then came the K-pop connection. I'm not a huge fan, but I knew of KATSEYE because they were everywhere. One day, a package arrived for her. It was a heavy, sealed box from a Korean shipping address. Inside were several pieces of official, unreleased KATSEYE merchandise, signed photo cards, a jacket with the group's logo, and an exclusive limited edition light stick. She panicked when she saw I had opened it. Her excuse? "Oh, that's just a thank you gift from a client who works with the label. They know I'm a fan." The panic didn't match the casual explanation. The pieces started to click into place a few weeks later. I was looking for a USB drive and accidentally went into her locked studio room. The key was hidden under a ceramic owl on the mantelpiece, a spot she thought I'd never look. What I saw in there wasn't a graphic design studio. It was a miniature, high-end broadcasting suite. There were professional ring lights, a green screen, a camera mounted on a tripod, and a desk that looked like a replica of a high-end streaming setup. On the wall, there was a huge, professionally printed full-size poster of the KATSEYE group, with one of the members, whom I vaguely knew was named Somi, circled in red marker. On the desk, there was a stack of custom-printed merchandise with Somi's face and signature on it, all clearly forgeries. I didn't touch anything. I just backed out slowly, closed the door, and put the key back, my mind racing. She wasn't just a fan, and she wasn't just a designer. What was she doing in there? I decided I couldn't confront her without proof. The wedding was looming, and the thought of destroying our life on a hunch was terrifying. So I became a spy in my own home. I learned her computer password by watching her type it in one night while she was distracted, It was ridiculously simple. The real Somi's birthday. The next day, while she was out for what she called a client lunch, I went into the office. What I found was a rabbit hole of staggering deception. She had created an entire online persona, a secret second life. She ran multiple social media accounts under pseudonyms that implied she was the real Somi's secret sister, a childhood friend, or most shockingly, in a private fan Discord server, she was claiming to be Somi, only hiding her identity because of the label's strict rules. She used the studio to film short, cryptic vlogs or live chats, always in low light or with a mask, using a voice modulator to mimic a higher, more cutesy voice. She used the official merchandise to prove her status. She leveraged the fact that the real KATSEYE members rarely went live or interacted deeply with their international fanbase to fill the void with her fake access. The Discord server alone had over 5,000 members, and her main income came from premium content subscriptions, donation goals to fund special projects for the real group, and outright demanding gifts from the most gullible, emotionally invested fans. The scale of the money was astronomical. I saw transactions totaling over $$400,000 in the last year alone. My fiancé was a professional, highly successful catfish. I spent hours reading the heartbreaking messages from young fans, many of them sending their allowance or lunch money, believing they were funding the dreams of their idol. One message in particular broke me. A boy confessed his struggles with depression and said her private advice had saved his life, and he was sending her $$100 as a thank you. He thought he was talking to Somi. So that's the situation I was in. I was engaged to a woman who was financially supporting our life, including the mortgage on our house, with money she stole from thousands of children and vulnerable people. The wedding was weeks away, the invitations were sent, and my family was flying in from across the country. I had hundreds of thousands of dollars of evidence of a massive federal crime sitting on her hard drive, involving wire fraud, identity theft, and exploitation. If I went to the police, she would go to jail for a very long time, and I would be implicated, or at least questioned extensively, and the whole world would know I was the idiot who almost married a scammer. If I confronted her, she could delete the evidence, and it would become a my word against her situation. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have saved yourself, or would you have done the right thing for the victims, even if it meant risking your own future? The confrontation wasn't a sudden burst of righteous anger. It was calculated. I needed to secure the evidence. The moment I saw her on that live stream, accepting that $$500 donation, I knew the time was now. I didn't scream or accuse. I simply said, "Maya, the wedding is off." She immediately stopped talking to the camera, but the live stream was still running. She had been wearing a face mask and a hat, but the sudden shift in atmosphere was palpable to her followers. "What are you talking about?" she whispered, her eyes darting between me and the laptop screen. I walked over, unplugged the external hard drive I had seen her use for backups, and slipped it into my pocket. "I know everything. The studio, the Discord, the money. Somi. Every cent of it." Her eyes went wide, and the terror returned, but this time, it was mixed with pure, cold fury. She lunged at me, trying to grab the hard drive. I sidestepped her easily. "It's too late, Maya. I have the drive, and I have copies of the files already in the cloud. You won't be deleting anything." She sank back onto the chair, burying her head in her hands. The live stream was now silent, her followers spamming the chat with confused questions. The aftermath was a whirlwind, and I didn't flinch. I spent the next 48 hours compiling all the data, printing key chat logs and transaction reports, creating a comprehensive file. I used an anonymous VPN to upload everything to a secure Dropbox. I then contacted the management company for KATSEYE, sending them a cryptic, untraceable email with a link to the evidence and a short summary of the fraud being perpetuated against their artists and their fans. I also anonymously tipped off a few major K-pop fan news sites and a prominent investigative journalist, known for exposing fan scams. I didn't want to rely solely on the police or the company. I wanted the public pressure to force accountability. Only after all of that was done did I contact a lawyer and the police. When the police arrived, she tried to deny everything, claiming I was an abusive, jealous ex who was making up stories to ruin her life. But the overwhelming, irrefutable evidence I provided, the hard drive, the printed logs, the financial records, the anonymous tips that were already blowing up online, was too much. She was arrested right there in our apartment, the one she paid for with stolen money. The media firestorm was immediate and intense. The story of the KATSEYE catfish bride was front-page news. My role was kept discreet, but the emotional cost was high. I had to move out of the apartment, resign from my job temporarily due to the stress, and deal with the shame of my family and friends, who all had to uninvite guests and cancel travel plans. I lost a woman I genuinely loved, even if that love was based on a lie. But the most important part? The KATSEYE management company released a statement promising a full investigation and cooperation with law enforcement to identify victims. Many of the fans she exploited finally understood they were not talking to their idol. And hopefully, some of them got the help they needed. I didn't get a personal thank you, and I didn't want one. I wanted justice for the people she hurt, and I got it. She is now facing multiple serious charges, and I have started the long, painful process of rebuilding my life. The moral of the story, I suppose, is that sometimes, doing the right thing for strangers means sacrificing your own immediate happiness. It means looking at the person you love and admitting that they are a monster. I chose to prioritize the truth and the victims over my comfort and convenience, and I would do it again. What she did was an insidious form of identity theft and emotional manipulation, and it deserved to be exposed. Like this video if you were on my side in this horrible mess. Subscribe for more stories like this, where the most shocking truths are hidden in plain sight. And please, share your final thoughts on this whole situation in the comments section. Was I justified in my actions? Let me know. I'll see you all in the next story.